Hi, I'm Rachel Allan. I'm a marketer, speaker, coach and author. I was a proud facilitator of Mareting Conversations for the second time and brought myself and 7 other amazing speakers together to talk about marketing, mindset and business. And this is the recording of one of our speakers. Enjoy. So Cath is also going to talk to us big picture about marketing as well. She's going to talk to us about engaging our tribe and using some referral marketing. We're going to see how much we can get through in half an hour. So welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. So anyway, welcome everyone. It's great to be here. I hope it's all been really good. I've sort of managed to just join you very recently because I've had other things on this morning, but I'm delighted to be part of it, Rachel. So thank you very much. I have these big marketing questions: why, who, what, where, how much, how, and when. They're sort of our marketing mix that we control. So what we're covering today is who. And so who do I wish to serve and who can help me? Now, we all talk about purpose-driven marketing and the idea of your why as being really important, and it is, but I've found that a lot of people can get quite stuck on that. It feels all very big and scary. So being able to start with who, as in who you want to help and who you want to work with the most, will actually help lead you to your purpose. And that can actually, sort of allow you to find that purpose in your business as you go, if that's not currently clear to you. The most important thing as a small business is that you don't need to do everything to everyone. And so you need to find your niche, be really good at it, be awesome, and then invite your tribe to come along with you for the ride. So choosing who you wish to serve, there's some really good questions that you can work with this. So first of all is, who do you best engage with? Who do you think gets you? Who do you enjoy working with? Who actually needs your unique talents, skills and knowledge the most? Who is actually able to pay you what you're worth? And also then, even if those people can't pay you right now, who you would like to work with you in the future? And who will also bring you the greatest personal satisfaction in your work? Because if you're not loving what you do and who you're working with, then it's really, you're not going to enjoy your business. People that you're working with and your clients and customers really do make a difference to how much you enjoy your work. The other thing that's worth considering as well is, how can you do the most good in the world? And for some people that might mean working deeply with a very small number of people. So, I've got people that I work with who are counsellors or, accountants or provide other services. Working deeply with a smaller number of people, they can actually do more good than if they're sharing their skills and knowledge and passion with a greater number of people. So you deciding whether you want to work deeply or broadly, or you may actually end up doing a bit of both. And that's okay too, but just working out what actually sits best with you and making some strategic decisions around that. Okay, so this idea of tribe is a very old idea. I know this is a bit of a marketing 101 diagram about how innovation products or services spread. What we find is, in that area where you've got your early and late majority, that's where all your pricing conflicts comes, as big, more players come into the marketing. It puts a lot more price competition in, and a lot more people are actually doing what you do. By being able to stay in this area, the red zone, I call it, that innovators and early adopters, which is where you really want your tribe, you can continually change what it is you're offering. And being able to have that tribe with you, you're actually close enough to them to find out what it is that they want and be ahead of the market, so that you're actually able to constantly innovate and create new products and services that your tribe specifically wants. So it's a lot easier to keep your existing customers than it is to try and get new ones. And that's, something that's just thrown about all the time. Now, this really can have a huge impact on your business. And a couple of years ago, I worked with a company. It was actually a baby food brand. And of course, baby food only actually works with people for a very short period of time because there's only so long that a baby needs baby food. One of the things I was working with her, because she actually gathered a huge tribe and had lots of people that really loved her business, but they'd all moved on, was being able to adapt a new range that was actually for the next stage for small toddlers and small children. So being able to keep ahead of that and keep your tribe going so that you're constantly doing it will keep you in business. Now, of course, if you want to grow into a big business, then that's a totally different story. But if you're wanting to stay reasonably small, being able to look up, know your tribe and really look after them and innovate to them is probably the most important thing. All right. Now I've got to be able to slide down. So the next slide, about who is in your tribe. And I think it's really important to know that in your tribe, there's more than just your ideal customers. The first thing you have within that tribe is the people who support you, your suppliers that you really should look after, and any referral and alliance partners. So people that you actually can help out in business, people who constantly refer you, you need to look after them and consider their needs as well. Obviously, your ideal customers you need to look after as well. But the other important group is your influencers. And these are the people who don't necessarily hand over the cash, but have a huge say in the purchase, so of whatever it is. So, for example, a child, especially as they get a bit older, we've all heard the term pester power, has a huge amount of influence, but they're not actually the ones handing over the money. So we need to, A, market to them, except marketing to children is really evil. And then also your ideal customers are actually the people handing over the money. Now, this is particularly important in business-to-business transactions where you're going to have people who are users. There are people who are gatekeepers who, you know, if you don't get through the personal assistant, you are never, your product doesn't even go to the right person, or your marketing information doesn't even go to the right person who can then influence that decision. As well as the people who are handing over the money. So it's really important to recognize that, make sure that you are, if it's particularly in that business to business, meeting with the right people. So not only the people who are paying the cash, but also the ones who are using your product. You need to get everyone on board. The most important thing is just to be aware of the fact that not everyone is meant to belong to your tribe. I think, you know, particularly big business marketing, they tend not to try and upset anyone too much because they're actually looking for high volume. Whereas as a small business, you're looking probably towards lower volume, but you actually want to stand out and be something different. So it is important that in any of your marketing that you recognize who you are and who you're trying to attract, and actually be that rather than being a bit wishy-washy. So yeah, that's part of that whole message of having that tribe, because people will gather around that idea of your tribe. So you want to choose somebody. I reckon that actually choosing a is a really good way to go, and starting by someone who's a big believing fan. So somebody who rates your business or refers, who comes back time and time again to buy from you, is a really good place to start. And one of the reasons that I really suggest, because about it or what they might want in business or what they want, having that existing customer is a much better way to work, because as I said, you can command. I know a lot of people also look at demographics, first of all, the ideal customer. For example, are they male or female, a certain age group, a certain education, do they work certain places, do they have any kids, that kind of stuff, all that graphic stuff. Now, some is relevant, but when you're creating your avatar, actually look primarily at what the key problem is. So what is it that's keeping them awake at night that's going to actually be enough of an to find a split for it. If there's, then they're going to be reluctant to buy. Now, it doesn't have to be a problem. It could be as simple as, I need something pretty to wear Saturday night. And in which case, because I'm going to a party or something like that, the different what's actually going on behind that is a lot more than what we think. And there's a really basic human needs behind that. So one person might want to buy, and somebody else will have a need for it, which is actually, I want to impress my friends. And so they're actually quite personal, emotional responses. So if we look at how they're going to feel when their problem is solved, then we can understand and divide our market up based on that. And then that's the kind of messages that you'll put out into the market. So how they're going to feel when their problem solved is actually what you're selling, not your product or service. The other thing that's really important is to look at how you can help them now. So what you're good at, what you're capable of doing, what your skills and talents and whatever other offering that you've got, your products, how can you help them now? And also, how can you help them in the future? As I said, you kind of really want to have your ideal customers grow with you, so that you can take them on a journey rather than having to constantly attract new customers if that's possible. Then, of course, you've got your demographics, and some demographics absolutely do matter, but it's about choosing which demographics that you want to work with. So if you prefer working with women, by all means, that can matter. But it may not be necessarily how you divide up your target market. Once you've got that information, then you can look at the best way to connect with them. And that's where all your promotional stuff comes in. So do they hang out on Instagram or Facebook? Do they look at their email marketing, or do they just delete it automatically? Do they go to hang out in certain networks, or do they go to certain places en masse? And then you can actually work out the best way to connect with them. So that's really why it's important to have that avatar. What is important to know, though, and remember, is that you want more than one ideal customer. So you need to sort of not be too specific, because you need to be able to see, that you're going to have a customer base that's as big as what you need it to be. So if you've got a product that can go out to many, many people, you're going to need a much bigger client base or a target market than if you're running a service business and you've only got X amount of hours in the day. Right. The other thing that I think is really important, and a really important part of your tribe, is your support network. Especially if you're working from home, but anyone who's running a small business, even if they've got employees, often feel very lonely in their work and disconnected. And so it's really important to have people around you so that you're not going it alone. It's a basic human need that we need to connect, and we tend to, particularly if we're based at home, we tend to hide in our little hidey holes in a digital world. And obviously the technologies are fantastic when they work, but we need to actually get out there. So your tribe needs to include people who are not your ideal customers but get you. And this can be even just your family and friends who are supportive. I've recently had a friend of mine who is a teacher. She's never going to buy from me, but she was able to refer me to somebody else who was retiring and starting her own business. And so if I didn't actually let my friends and family know what I did exactly, then they wouldn't be able to refer me on. So it's important for, to let as many people know what it is that you do, and ignore anyone who doesn't get it. There will be people who will try and discourage you and stuff. They're not part of your tribe. But if you've actually got people in that tribe and you make sure that they feel included and appreciated, they're the ones who will actually help you build your business via word of mouth. And as we all know, word of mouth is the best form of marketing out there. So I recommend looking for collaborations and alliances with other small business owners that perhaps are in a similar area or have a similar target market to you but aren't direct competitors. However, it is often helpful to even have alliances with people who you might consider competitors, especially in a service business, so that they can help you out for overload and that sort of stuff. You'll have your referral partners and even affiliates who actually love what you do and will share the word. And then also your own support networks and masterminds. And I think it's really important to have somebody that, a group of people that you actually feel safe to be you and talk about the struggles as well, without feeling like you're always having to be on all the time. So make sure that you have that around as well. And they are all still part of your tribe. So when you're putting out your social and that sort of thing, being able to include that stuff rather than constantly bombarding people with sales messages is really important, so that they feel included as well. I have a lovely diagram here which sort of shows how you connect different people, but that's not going to work. The idea with this diagram that I've got here, which is lots of little circles with you in the middle and then different groups that branch off, is that it's in an ideal world, you want to actually not be hanging out just in the same groups. You want to connect in with different groups and different ways so that you're connecting with more people. One way that you can really get the word out about your business is what I'm calling other people's audiences. So being able to have other people share your stuff to their following actually helps grow your audience in a way that doesn't usually cost you a great deal unless you're paying for influencer marketing, but it gives you that opportunity to drop into different tribes, I suppose, and show that you're relevant to that tribe, and actually spread your influence that way. I'm actually right for questions now, if anyone's clear. Rachel, does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. I am definitely ready for questions.
Cool.
I think for me, it's you mentioned about support community, and I often talk to people about having a support community. Where do you go for your support? Where do you find your best community?
Okay, so I've got two groups that I'm fairly active in. So I have a local motivating mum group, and I actually run that, but I still occasionally go, right, I'm not all together this week. Give me a hand. But we meet monthly. I'm also part of the She Will Shine network, and that's got a very active, I'm active with their events and things, even though they're completely the opposite side of town to me, but that's also got a very active Facebook group where we support each other. It's one of those communities that I find is very supportive and positive. It's really important that they will get you warts and all. I have been involved also. I did the Master Mums program with Motivating Mum the last 2 years. They're not running it here, but that was really helpful from more a growth point of view as well. So having different groups that, you need to feel safe, and you need to feel, for a support network, you need to feel safe, and you need to feel that you're not having to know it all. And for someone who does a lot of coaching and mentoring work like I do, that can sometimes be a bit tricky because you don't want to be as vulnerable and go, oh, I don't know that thing. So you do need to still have that safe space, and somewhere where you just feel that you can, I don't know, someone to cheer you on, but will also be honest with you. Because I think sometimes the cheering on can be in the wrong direction. And sometimes just having a good business coach is the right person to ensure that you're not being just cheered on in the wrong direction.
Absolutely. And I think it's that difference between the support from someone who's trying to be really kind and the support from someone who's actually going to tell you as it is as well.
Yeah, and it's a big difference, and it can make a huge amount of difference to your business. And I think, part of, I had a previous business that didn't go so well, and everyone was really, really supportive and cheery, but no one actually stopped and went, so what would you lose if this didn't work?
Yeah.
And and it would have been really good to have had somebody actually take a step back and go, so what would you lose if this didn't work?
What's it really worth to you?
What's it really worth to you? Yeah, well, don't invest that much money. Try something less.
I think that questioning as well, you know, I've also done the Master Mums program that you did the year, but I did it the year after you. I've also been involved in Motivating Mum and also She Will Shine. And I think that it's the conversations you can have with people that are honest as well.
Yeah, I think they're really important. You do need that honesty. You don't want to have anyone who's going to like completely burst your bubble.
Mm.
And I know that I had a mentor very early in my business that kind of, it was, you know, through small business mentoring or something, but he kind of didn't actually give me a good reason, but kind of did a bit of bursting bubble stuff, and you go, no, that's not what I want.
Exactly.
So you do want the encouragement, but you might need some guidance.
Yes,
so
definitely. And keeping you accountable to what you're saying you're doing as well, which is where really good coaches come into it also.
Oh, look, accountability is such a big thing too. It really is. And being able to have someone who's going to check in on you and go, so did you do it?
You said you were going to do it. I know.
Yeah.
Building a tribe, where's the best place, or how do you find is the best place to keep nurturing that community, that tribe that you're building?
Look, I don't think anything can ever replace face-to-face, but it's harder. I find, and one of the reasons I think She Will Shine works so well is that you've got a mix of face-to-face and online to keep in contact in between. So for me, look, I do have a Facebook group. I haven't been particularly fully active in it, but I do have that. Email marketing is still your own stuff. It's just whether or not you are sharing stuff that's relevant enough that people don't just automatically delete you. I think a lot of email marketing can be very spammy, and if a lot of that, so you know, if you're following that traditional sales funnel thing where you have reminders and last minute sales and all that kind of stuff, you're going to lose your people. And once you've lost them, you've lost them. So it's about really towing that line very gently. In Australia in particular, I think we're a lot more skeptical of that type of marketing. So being able to actually honestly use that as a relationship building tool rather than a sales tool is really important. That doesn't mean you can't sell through it, but it just, and because it is very effective as a sales tool. But it is about treading that fine line between owning your tribe and not. I know in the past content marketing has worked very well for me. My preferred medium is blogging and writing. I particularly like writing for other people. I just haven't done it for a little while, so I'm about to get back into that. I don't like being on video a great deal and get very annoyed because Facebook thinks it's awesome. And and having conversations. I do a lot of what I'd call strategic following on social. So actually going, well, who do I actually want to know? Who do I want to follow? Whose tribes do I think are, you know, who's got the finger on the pulse, and actually being part of that, and actually inviting myself into tribes as well. And you get known. So
awesome. And for people who are listening, and I think authenticity we've spoken about that quite a bit or a little bit today. And I know, I mean, for me, I tell people about lead funnels and I encourage people to create that, but it has to come from that authentic space, from, you know, we've spoken about heart space today and stuff like that. It has to be what's good for you. What's the one thing that makes a difference to people as far as marketing their businesses?
Look, I think that it's about being the best you. I think there are definitely people who have gone out there and been really authentic and are possibly a bit scary with that. So it is about being genuinely you, but it is about being the best you. The one that does inspire confidence and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, so long as we don't believe everything we see on social, then we're fine.
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably the other thing that's really important for you to believe, to follow. Don't believe everything you see on social. You actually know that things aren't fine with me so much when I go really quiet. So, and I have ups and downs like anybody else in business. So, I think that's, you do need to be yourself. You do need to share that heart space, because otherwise, look, there's enough people putting out rubbish. And I think what we're doing as small businesses is changing the world. I really do, especially women in business. This whole feminine idea of women in business and the feminine leadership and feminine business and the way we're doing it is going to have a huge impact on the way we do business in the future. Absolutely.
Definitely. There's certainly, you talk to people who are into, our next speaker, Janet, who is into astrology and, shifts in realms and dimensions and things. And they're certainly talking a lot about that more feminine approach to business being the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important to remember that it's not just for women.
No. I mean, men can, as much as women have tapped into